What is up, y'all? I'm down in my puddle by my house, and today I'm gonna be talking about wacky rigged stick baits, weedless rigged stick baits, Texas rigged stick baits, everything about stick baits. So y'all, a little history around the worm bait. Worms, bugs, creatures of all shapes and sizes have been used to catch fish for generations and generations. People used to use bones. I know they used to use little pieces of carved bone, and I think that was the first ever artificial fishing lure, was carved bone and wood, and just taking a little tiny hook that they made out of either wood or some type of, they carve it out of rock, or I don't know what they did. Maybe I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really remember. But I did some research, and they used to just take a little hook they made and dab it on the top of the water and let the fish come up to it. Used to go catch crickets and frogs and turtles and anything they had. They'd throw out in water, see if the fish liked it. And eventually, later in time, we made stuff like this, rubber. I think his name was Kevin Wayne or Wayne Kevin. I'm bad with names, but all I remember is his name was Wayne. He had Wayne in his name, and he owned a bait shop, and he made a rubber worm, and he put it in, got all this scent from the other worm. He'd put it in with the other live worms to make it smell like a worm, and he made it pink, looked just like a worm. And he put it in the water and wiggle it around, and he caught fish doing that, but you don't catch a lot of fish. He put it on bobbers, and he created it so that when you were using a worm, you didn't lose it as often. And this isn't the first, they had other artificial baits before this worm, but it was just a wiggly worm that he made out of rubber. And today we have come up with so many different variations of these worms. Some dude's coming down the road, he's gonna think I'm crazy. We have come up with so many variations of these worms. Today, we have millions of colors and curl tails or shapes, sizes. You have ones with cut tails, ones with plus signs on the tails, ones that are short, long, beefy in the middle, curled a little bit when you hold it, things that float on one side, sink on the other, all different kinds of colors. I have just a few variations, and I have over 100 variations, I'd say. And that's not even breaking the ice with these. I've fished with, well, I shouldn't say I have 100, I should say I have had hundreds of variations. Right now I have the ones that seem to work best for me. You have 6-inch worms, even freaking 12-inch worms, all different types of worms. And they are fished relatively the same. Bass eat them. It's known. You throw a worm in, bass is gonna eat it. People used to use worms, just throw them out right on the bottom, and a bass would come along, pick it up. They'd catch big bass doing that. But nowadays, it's a little trickier. These bass have evolved and learned. Wacky style. You can throw bait, a worm, hook it in the middle, letting it sink to the bottom real slow, and you may even catch a fish on your first one. You'll just watch your line sink, 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 and it may dart off in the other direction, and you'll be, oh no, reel up your slack, set the hook on that guy. He's got it in his mouth, he's eating it. Or it'll be sinking and sinking and sinking and won't nothing happen. you go to twitch it up, and there'll be a fish on it. Or it'll be sinking and sinking and sinking, and then all of a sudden, it'll just start sinking faster, and you'll be like, that's weird. And it's sinking faster and faster, and then it'll get tight, and you'll set the hook, and it'll surprise you. You gotta be, now that you know that stuff, you're ready for it. Any abnormality, I just say reel up and set the hook. Unless you're spawn fishing, don't do that. Any abnormality in the line, or the way it's sinking, or here comes another call. People must be getting off work. The way it's in any abnormally, like I said, any abnormally, whatever. I can't even do words. But as this thing sinks, you're gonna have fish on it. I don't know. What am I even saying? Cut any unusual thing that happens as this thing is sinking or you're lifting it up. I say, reel it up, set the hook. Unless you're spawn fishing, that's a different story we'll get to in another episode. But anyways, I have just a few colors set out here, and I'm gonna show you all of them real quick. So many different colors. You have 3-inch worms, ones with cut tails, ones that float, one that look different, ones with paddles on the backs, ones with curls, ones that have cut curls, all different types of worms. So many different companies make them. I have stuff all over right now for this worm video, and you can rig them so many different styles, catch so many different fish. It is just amazing on how many fish you will catch on these worms. Figured out the word I was trying to say, abnormality. So many colors, so many different styles. You're probably thinking, where do I start? You're gonna start with basic colors, natural colors. Stay away from the bubblegum pinks, go back to the skin tone pinks, the watermelon reds. I like to have a minimum of 4 or 3 colors on me. I like to have black and blue, some sort of black and red, something dark in that dark water, something gray or white, and my go-to color, watermelon red pumpkin, or watermelon red plate, not pumpkin. Those are my 4 go-to colors. I think I said them all. Yep. So I said all my colors, my 4 colors that I normally have with me. You have so many different variations. You have ones that are solid colors like this with flake. You have ones half and half like these two. One side is belly of a bait fish, one side's the top of a bait fish, shad and stuff. And then in ponds, when you're catching 1 to 2 pounders, 3-inch Bass Pro worms are key. I think Gary Yamamoto even makes them. 3-inch Wacky style rig it, or even weedless rig it. Them bass munch them in ponds. That's a little pro tip for you, because I'm a pro. Just kidding. You have finesse style worms that are thick at the top and skinny at the bottom. And then you have this finesse style, this orange piece right here. This is a biospawn lure. This orange piece right there, it's made of plastic that actually floats. I'll get down in the water later and show you this one, because this one is great for putting on a shaky head or a Ned rig. You can cut that off and just use a small little mushroom head and a Ned rig it. Shaky head, all that. These are all good for that. These ones too, if you don't want that. But anyways, these are finesse style. You can rig those finesse style on drop shots, like I said. I don't know if I said that actually, but you can rig those on drop shots. And then here's another one of my favorites. It's got a paddle on the end, just like that. And when it's going down in the water, that paddle's gonna flap and spin and do all this stuff. It's really heavy here, really light there, and then really heavy again. So this has a lot of motion. So it'll be sinking, And as it goes to one side, the water's gonna wanna push it straight, push it over, and by the time it's on the bottom, it'll be sinking straight. You can take it, and then when you twitch it, this is gonna come up faster than this. So it'll come up and then flick up and down and up and down. Because every object in motion wants to stay in motion. Every object that's not in motion wants to stay stopped or whatever. I don't know. I'm homeschooled, as everybody says when I say something dumb. But as you can see, just even in the air, it goes straight, 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 drops off. This is gonna have a lot of action in the water. So that is perfect for shaky heads, stuff that I throw those finesse hooks on, or finesse worms on, I'd throw this on. And I also throw this on a drop shot. It's very good for a drop shot. It's called a beaver tail worm. And I have holes in my boots, and I'm getting lots of water in my boots for y'all. It's a beaver tail. That's another one of my favorites. And then here we have a punching Texas rig, big bass killer. You have your curl tail worms. This one's a little crazy color. When I'm starting off, I wouldn't go with these crazy colors like that. I'd stick more to these basic naturals and those black and blues and darks and browns and blacks and black and blues. That's what I stick to. Those are your basics. And I wouldn't go to these crazy colors unless someone, you know, you were fishing with was throwing one of these crazy colors on a day, and you're fishing with him a while, and he's been catching on that color, and you're throwing this and not catching near as many. Then you switch up. Or you just, once you have a bunch of these basic colors stockpiled up, well, you don't need them stockpiled. Once you have these and want to venture out of your comfort zone, start throwing these. Experiment, experiment, experiment. That's all I say with bass fishing, experiment. You never know unless you try. You don't know if you're gonna catch these fish unless you try. And I like to throw these curl tail worms on many, many different, even just a jig head if I don't have anything else. I'll throw a quarter-ounce jig head out there, let it sink, or just straight reel it in. My grandpa used, I think it was this, I think it was black with a pink tail. He caught a 35-inch pike, trolling that on a jig head. You never know unless you try, guys. Fishing is experimental sport. You never know unless you just throw. Just throw it and see what happens. You never know what's gonna happen. You may have the bait you love and adore, and it always catches fish every single day, and one day you just get skunked. You never know what these bass are gonna do. These curl tail worms, Texas rig 'em. I think I'll have a video on that coming up soon. I'll do an in-depth video on these curl tail worms, how you can have double curl tails, all that. But I'm just touching it in this video. Let's get on ways to rig these suckers. Texas rigging. You're gonna need 3 or 4 things. Obviously, you're gonna need your rod, your line. I normally like to throw braid because when I'm throwing a Texas rig, it's normally around cover, and I'm gonna have to be pulling it through that cover. And I'd say go with tungsten, but I'm cheap. I go with lead. And sometimes I have to take a little bit of buffing cloth, or whatever it's called, and stick it down in that hole and move it up and down because it tends to fray my line sometimes. But that's what you get when you go cheaper. A little bit manual labor never hurt nobody. I've only had tungsten once, and I absolutely love these, but it's just out of my price range, and that's it. And depending on where you are at, you're gonna have one of the 2 hooks. A hook like this with a keeper, a bait keeper on that, just straight edge. I think this is a 5 or 6, I'd like to say. Or offset wide gap hook. I use a lot of these. I think this is the number 6 or 5. I don't remember. And then another thing you're gonna use, you can throw it without these, but it's a bobber stop or a peg. I throw a peg because that brings everything down as one. Some people like to leave a foot gap so they can let the bait slowly sink to the bottom and then just pull it straight down so it'll shoot down. Or that gives it erratic action, and we all know bass love erratic actions. And the thing with these, this little lip right there tends to keep my bait on, and this is more weedless, but you can also rig this style hook weedless. I like to say I throw them about half and half. Just experiment, see what you like. Depends on what I grab, what's closest to me, really. I catch fish on them both. You're gonna throw this Texas rig on your jig rod, so a heavy rod, normally 7 foot. I just have my spinning rod out here right now. I'm not gonna rig this up because I don't want to waste any pegs or hooks. I wouldn't be able to get the peg on here. And to use these pegs, I don't know how well y'all can see that. Can you see that wire loop on the top of that peg? You're just gonna stick your line through that top of that peg and pull it up, and then hold your line with one hand, and maybe you have to have a buddy, but do it. But you hold this, hold your line, slide the peg up onto your line, and then the peg will be on. I see some people take all these pegs off and then on the boat licking their line, trying to get it through that hole, and I show them that and they're like, oh my god, so dumb. But that's just a little tip for y'all, the pegs. I got these pegs off Bass or Tackle Warehouse. I don't know how well they work better than, if they work better than the ones, but I know there's different sizes. I normally get a size that's gonna not slip through there, because sometimes when I sand it down or whatever, buff it down so it don't fray my line, because as you can see just looking at it, there's a sharp edge down in there, and tungsten weights don't have that. They're normally painted and they're normally smooth, but that's just what you get when you go cheaper. And when you go cheaper, you're gonna have to do a little bit of work. I already said that. But I did buy the wrong size once, and on these ones here, you can see they're a little bit more well made than those other ones. I don't know the brand, but I don't know if I buffed this one or what. Actually, some sizes of pegs will fit through that hole and get lodged up in there, and it'll slide down as you cast. These ones have worked pretty well. I haven't had them move, but every once in a while you're gonna have to retie because they'll eventually get wet and they'll slide all over hell, and just everything will just be all messed up. But that's the Texas rig. I'm probably rambling too much right now, but I'll chop it up. I seem to have forgotten my wide grap worm hook. I'm probably gonna have to run back in those. But right now we have an offset. It's an offset straight edge. That's what I call them, offset straight edge. As you can see, it looks like that. Here's it in comparison to my finger, just down the second line. I'd say 2 inches tall. It's pretty light wire because I'm throwing it on a spinning reel. And anyways, hold on. Got a warning on my camera. It's too hot out here for it. It's offset, weedless. I'll show you how to rig this. I have enough of this color. I'll probably show you how to throw this one too. And then I'll also use this as a wacky hook. I don't recommend that. There's too much in the way. Get a number 4 wide gap octopus hook, I think it is. Or just a wide gap worm hook. That'll work too. But this is a Wacky Rig right there. And for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna teach you how to rig this. So you're gonna want your bait nice and straight, and you're just gonna go right down in there, then right out the side 1/2 inch down. Just big enough so that the bait can come down and this little bend in the hook can stick out just like that. And then you're gonna line it up with this side and stick it through just like that. Just like that, nice and straight. And you can even tuck this little barb of the hook if you're in really weedy conditions, and tuck that barb. I'll teach you how to throw them both. Basically what you're gonna do is, here, I'll tie it on real quick. I'll do a knot tying video later. Probably do that inside with the lighting. Normally you tie your hook on first before you do that, so you don't have this issue, which is trying to work it around the bait. I'm just gonna have to tie a fisherman's knot. Like I said, I'll make a video on my knots I use. All right, y'all. We got it all rigged up here on a Wacky Rig on our rod. Just a medium spinning reel, that'll work. I got that worm hook on there because down in the puddle here, don't know if y'all can see, but down there, this stick fell in the water, so we're gonna have to work around that. Let me put it down in my feet here. I can't see where y'all are at. So right here would be, I don't know if y'all can see that well, the sun went away, but you can see when that bait comes up and then sinks. Just slowly work it up and let it sink. Up, sink, up. Look, a minnow's trying to get it. You're just gonna slowly work that bait up and sink it. I'll show you guys up here how I'm working it. Can you see me? So I'm just gonna kick it out there and I'm just gonna let it sink all the way to the bottom. And I'm just gonna slowly twitch my rod until it lifts up off the bottom. And I'm just gonna wash my line the whole time. Lift my rod, just shake it. Just about 6 inches or so and let it sink. Up, up, up. Let it sink. I hope y'all can see this, but I'm just letting it sink, watching my line. Up, 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 up. Let it sink. Like 6 inches off the bottom would be good. And you're gonna cover a little bit of water. Sometimes it's harder on those windy days because it's a weightless rig, so you don't have anything, so it could blow along with the wind because your line will blow. But calm days, perfect. Good way to teach people how to catch fish if you're with someone who doesn't know that well. But here is mine favorite way to rig it. So like a number 3 or number 4 octopus hook. I went up to the house, I don't have any, which is not good. I need to order more. I thought I had a whole bunch stocked up, but apparently I fished them all out. So I normally use the red Gamakatsu octopus hook right there. And the way to rig this is you're just gonna hook it straight through the middle. And when you're walking around a pond, I recommend having the whole pack with you because you're gonna lose them. They're gonna get shooken off like that. There's nothing holding on except that barb. But it works. So, oh, a fish already come up and try to bite it. That hook there, straight through the middle. Get up. Wide gap worm hook, not offset. Maybe a Gamakatsu octopus hook works good too. I think I already said that though. And you're gonna do basically the same thing. Pitch it out there, let it sink, watch your line, and just twitch it up. And then let it sink. It'll probably sway back and forth. When it goes down, this fly's bit me, meanie. It'll probably shake back and forth when you go down. So if it's just slowly swaying, don't be alarmed. It's probably not a fish. But if it's swaying dramatically, watch your line. If it's going back and forth dramatically as it goes down, you got a fish. Some days when it's sunny, sometimes polarized glasses help you see. I'm actually snagged up on the bottom there. I'm gonna have to walk around. But some days, when it's sunny, sometimes polarized sunglasses help you see. Sometimes they don't help you see. It just depends on how you like it. It's personal preference. I don't know. Really don't know. I can see it both ways sometimes. Sometimes I can't see a darn thing through the glasses. Sometimes I can see everything in the world under the water through the glasses. But anyways, I'm gonna go undo this so I can teach you all how to work this bait better. And just remember, watch your line. Alright, y'all, I'm back with you. So when you're throwing out this bait, it's a slow moving bait. So sometimes it's good in the wintertime. It works year-round, basically. It's a good go-to bait when nothing's working. You'll normally catch one on a Wacky Rig. You're just gonna shake it up, six or a foot off the bottom, 6 inches or a foot. I mean, and just watch your line as it sinks. Watch for abnormalities. Once it hits the bottom, lift it up. You may have a fish on. And it slowly works that strike zone. Sinks, comes back up, you pull it back up, and you can do 2 things, depending on what the fish seem to be wanting that day. You can pull it up, just pull it up straight and let those ends of that worm wiggle a little bit, or you can shake it all the way up. One of the 2, depending on what the fish works like. Normally shaking it is a little bit slower and pulling it is a little bit faster, but just pull it up a little bit, shake it, and just it's all in the wrist, the shaking. You're just gonna shake, and let it sink. But I think I covered it all this video. I've been filming for a half hour, so I should probably cut this short. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something in this video, and I gotta restart. Alright, y'all, I gotta go. Mom's calling me for dinner. Hopefully you learned something in this video. Remember, watch your line, look for abnormalities, and don't be afraid to set the hook. You never know unless you try. Experiment. You can catch fish on a budget. Remember, have fun. Like, subscribe. See you in the next one.